Hello there, adventurers, and welcome to Wally DM. Today we're going to take a look at 5 ideas that you can use for a one-shot adventure or for a quest idea in your ongoing campaign. Now, these ideas are submitted by you, the subscriber, and from time to time I'm going to put an idea out on the community tab of the Wally DM YouTube channel. All you need to do is reply to the topic and you have a chance to see your name in a future video. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at the topic of monoliths. I asked the Wally DM community, what ideas for one-shots or quest ideas can you come up with that includes monoliths? So here are the top 5 answers. Let's dig right in. Now, our first idea was submitted by HollandWolf01, who writes, there is a teleportation circle surrounded by 6 monoliths. However, one is missing. It can be found being used as a rolling pin, or a bat, or a door jam by some hill giants. A shard of the missing monolith leads the party in the right direction. Can be used to suggest a party go through the woods or over the mountains that may have otherwise missed because the party usually stays on the beaten path. So this would make for a very good game. Our adventuring party goes and finally finds a summoning circle they've been looking for, and then they find the monolith missing. They find the few shards, they track down, and with a little bit of information, they find that some hill giants just plucked it out of the ground, and now the chef is using it as a rolling pin to knead the bread or the pastries for the other hill giants. So now we have this Jack and the Beanstalk type of a scenario where all these small adventurers are trying to infiltrate the hill giant base, and then once they get in there, they need to break into the kitchen and steal the rolling pin of the hill giant. But the fun part is how are they going to get it out of there? It's probably going to be too heavy to carry. Are they going to find a giant to help, or are they going to find a way to shrink it down to size? Or better yet, are they going to find a way to make themselves larger in order to get it back? This idea could lead to all kinds of different things, and I'm really interested to see what the players are going to cook up with this idea. Our second idea for a monolith in a one-shot or a quest was submitted by the Aceman 1100, who writes, after days of walking through the desert, the players see a massive pillar standing in front of them. As they begin to inspect it, they find carvings of faces in the stone going to the top. As they look closer at the faces, they would find themselves staring back at them in stone form. As they make eye contact, the pillar rumbles and a door opens to the inside, leading down below the surface. So this is a very bizarre idea that could go a few different ways. One of the versions that I could think of is perhaps when they go below the surface, they go through a dungeon crawl, and at the very end, they're confronted by their evil twins from a parallel universe, and then they have to fight each other. Or maybe those stone faces are them from the future, and they're trapped, and they have to swap places or something to that effect. Or it could just be a trap altogether, and when they finally get to where they're going, then their souls are trapped inside the pillar. Our next idea was submitted by Ross Elkhorn, who writes, one day a tower, known as a menagerie in ancient texts, bursts forth from the ground in the city. The exterior is decorated with visages of non-humanoids and humanoids in vicious warfare. A lion tearing apart a gladiator-esque human, a demon falling at the hands of an orc, etc. But it's all centered around the battle of what appears to be a group of humanoids fighting a insert final boss battle here. From its gates spill monsters and beasts alike, terrorizing the city, and the gates seal shut. The players must defeat the leaders of each section of the invading army before progressing through the gates to battle their way to the top and fight the big bad evil guy. Holy smokes, is there a lot going on here, but if you have a group of players that love to go through combat, you have just set yourself up for gladiator-esque fighting. I mean, they're going to need to go through all types of different enemies, all types of different barbarians, monsters, things of that nature, and fight through to the end. So this is definitely a session that could satisfy the most thirsty of those that love combat. We have demons, we have orcs, we have lions, we have gladiators, and we just have to go through each stage and progress in difficulty with regards to levels and combat until we get to the big bad evil guy. Be sure to buy a bunch of healing potions before you leave town. Our next entry comes from Inquisitor Thorn, who writes, the monolith is covered in hand-shaped depressions. Filling them activates it, launching a brilliant light into space that disperses the clouds. Who or what returns to the monolithic beacon is up to you. Now this sounds like a lot of fun, and my mind immediately goes to the original Ghostbusters. Perhaps once all of the characters simultaneously put their hands on the monolith, whatever they're thinking of is going to be what comes down and destroys them. AKA the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. You could even play this up like at the beginning of the adventure or the beginning of the session, asking each character, one of them to write down a food, one of them to write down an item, things of that nature, and then at the very end that food comes down just like the Marshmallow Man did, and it's carrying an item that is just going to wreak havoc on them. Now, if giant marshmallow men aren't your thing, then we could do two other things. We could have an evil version where a bunch of mind flayers come down and infiltrate the city, or we could have a good version where an angel comes down and applies a blessing to each of the characters. Perhaps they get an ability score increase or a feat or something along that lines where they can help. Better yet, we could even make this into a puzzle or a trap. Depending on what type of a ring that a character is wearing, then that could be what is produced or what comes down. So if they have some type of a dragon ring on their hand, when they put their hand into the monolith, then a dragon's going to come down. And we can make these consequences appear over time, or we can just have it all happen right away. I really do like this idea. As it stands, I see it as a very good trap, and who knows, perhaps in the future, I'll make this into a puzzle for my game. Now, our fifth and final idea was submitted by Dr. Feargood, who writes, "The ancient elven ruins have been south of the city for eons and provided the city revenue of adventurers hoping to make it rich. Some do make it rich and others never return. A troop of highborn elves entered a few days ago, and this morning there was a huge octagon monolith coming from the ground not far from the cliffside entrance to the ruins, and everyone in town woke up with a tattoo-shaped monolith on their forehead and has been transformed into a mole creature." A mole creature. I have no idea what to do with this one. Chuck, this is a crazy idea. I love it, but it's so crazy. Wow, okay. I think I have an idea though. Let's say our adventuring party hits into a town, they go to an inn, and they're hired to go and try to find those highborn elves. So they are also turned into these mole-like creatures with the monolith on their forehead. But that's actually a good thing. And then they go, because they can still wield everything, but now they have this like digging speed of like 30 to 40 feet per round or what have you. And now they can go down into this dungeon, they can dig through the walls and stuff that they wouldn't be able to do before, and they actually finally find these highborn elves who actually took like a sacred relic or something off of a pedestal, and when they did, that's when all hell broke loose. So the characters need to dig through to get to them, and when they do, put the item back to where it belongs, and hopefully that returns everybody back to normal. Now, I've recently been in contact with Dr. Feargood, and he has his own Patreon where he creates magic items and races. And what he has done for us for this video is, if you would like to download the mole race and a couple of magic items that he has for running with this type of a quest or one-shot idea, then you're more than welcome to do so. I will put a link in the description below. So those are 5 ideas involving monoliths that you can use for a one-shot adventure or as a quest or side quest in your ongoing campaign. Let me know in the description below, what would you do with these 5 ideas? What would you do with the mole creatures or with the faces in the monolith? I'm anxious to see what direction you take these ideas in. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to pay attention to the community tab, because I'll be posting the next quest idea very, very soon. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video, and on to the next. I think I'm going to use them all. I'm going to have a hill giant with a monolith rolling pin. We're going to have faces inside that monolith. And then they're going to have to battle a bunch of people to put things away that's back into the way that it goes. And then mind flayers or the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man's going to come and try to take it back away from them. And then they're going to wake up as mole creatures and go to the bar. And holy smokes, this is just amazing.